When I travel, I like to follow a similar script for the story I'd like to live out. In my opinion, the best way to get to know a place is by experiencing regional art and culture, the local food, and some adventure. Seeking these things out is the best way to make great memories while on the road. On my latest trip to Colombia, I got to experience all of the above. For this trip, I traveled to Medellín, Colombia, the second largest city in Colombia, a city that has undergone a great transformation over the last 30 years. From Edmonton, I was able to reach Medellín by air after about 8 hours of total flying time. Once I landed, I had a car bring me to my hotel. While in Medellín, I stayed in Laureles, a walkable, visitor-friendly neighborhood with plenty of restaurants, cafes, and parks. I stayed in a great boutique hotel called Urbit Social Lounge, a comfortable base for my stay. It had everything that I needed. Every day started with breakfast on the top floor. And I have to say, easily the best hotel coffee I've ever had. But more about coffee later. On my first day, I set about getting to know the area by walking around and getting familiar with the city. I also signed up for a fantastic pay-as-you-will tour. The tour, hosted by Real City Tours, was such a valuable experience and provided me with a good base understanding of the city, its people, and its history. The storytelling was powerful, and I left the experience inspired by the possibilities of positive change in the world. I got to see and experience firsthand that education, art, courage, and hospitality all can work together to change a city. It also provided me with inspiration of what I wanted to experience later on the trip. I enjoy art, and Medellín has a number of great opportunities to experience it. Art can be experienced in the beautiful neo-Gothic Centro Comercial Palacio Nacional, a beautiful historic building with 5 levels full of mini art galleries. The Plaza Botero was also a memorable place to see public art installations created by the famed Colombian artist Fernando Botero. I also spent a whole afternoon touring the Medellín Modern Art Museum. It had everything you'd expect from a modern art museum. The building itself is a work of art, and I enjoyed taking in the architecture. One of the most interesting features was an exhibit on indigenous languages on the verge of extinction and the efforts being made to preserve them. Language plays a vital role in the transmission of history and culture, and this space invited visitors to take time to reflect on the fragility of those indigenous languages. I'm by no means an art critic, but I do enjoy it, and having time to experience it without having to rush is a great privilege. If we were to travel back in time 30 years ago, Comuna 3 was one of the most dangerous places to be in the world. This tragic history contributed to Medellín being named the murder capital of the world at one point in history. This densely populated community has undergone a radical transformation that now attracts visitors from all over the world. I wanted to experience this place firsthand because these kind of changes are inspiring. Some residents have converted their homes into restaurants. I was welcomed into one of these homes and I had a very traditional and delicious dish called bandeja paisa, a meal commonly served in this region. I had great meals in Colombia, but it was a true honor and privilege to be served a meal in this family's home. Seeing the transformation of this area firsthand was powerful. The change is evidence that the arts, education, and good infrastructure can play a part in restoring peace to a city. It's also important for me to relay that I was made to feel welcome wherever my travels took me in Medellín. Whether I was enjoying some delicious street food or enjoying a meal at a very nice restaurant, I was always treated with kindness. I love coffee. I drink it every day. Not only that, but I know a lot about coffee and it's a much loved hobby of mine. While in Colombia, I had the great privilege of enjoying world-class coffee from a number of great cafes in Medellín. In recent years, the younger generations of farmers and entrepreneurs have redeveloped the coffee scene in Medellín. While visiting, I was able to check out a number of great cafes. The cafe that I enjoyed the most was Cafe 1111 in the El Poblado neighborhood. I've had coffee at different places all over the world, and this cafe would be in my top ranks. Any fan of coffee could come to this part of the world and enjoy many satisfying cups in a variety of interesting and fun cafes. But I wouldn't be able to talk about my time in Colombia without sharing about the experience I had of being able to see coffee at the source. I spent a whole morning and early afternoon at Finca La Arrinconada, a family-owned and operated coffee farm that has been growing coffee for over 4 generations. The coffee tour allowed me the opportunity to actually hike the jungle around the coffee plantation and pick cherries from the plants. I've known that coffee is a very labor-intensive beverage, but experiencing it firsthand was an unforgettable reminder of that reality. And as a guest, I received some education on the process involved in the cultivation, processing, roasting, and brewing of coffee. I was also treated to a coffee tasting using multiple different kinds of brew methods. After the coffee tasting, I was served a traditional and very filling lunch that was served inside a banana leaf. I really enjoy the hospitality of the Arrinconada family, a family that has been cultivating coffee for the world for over 200 years. The coffee you drank this morning began its journey thousands of kilometers away. It started as a fruit. That fruit was picked by human hands and processed. There is no easy way to cultivate good coffee. This experience will always make me think of this father and daughter team that welcomed me into such a rich coffee experience. Another great way to understand a city is by using its public transportation. I've always believed that the people that make a city work usually take public transportation. Medellín has Colombia's only working metro system, a system that contributed to the economic growth of the city. The metro and the cable car systems are a source of pride for the citizens of Medellín. The system opened up opportunities for those living away from the core of the city to connect to jobs and services that were out of reach for them before the system was built. If you were living outside of the core, it may have taken you 90 minutes to 2 hours to get a job. Now, the cable cars can essentially safely fly someone to the core in about 14 minutes. A huge game changer. This infrastructure was also very clean and well organized. I would compare its cleanliness and safety to what I experienced a couple years ago in Japan. Of course, on a much smaller scale, but I was impressed and I'm glad I made an effort to get to know the system while I was there. The easiest way to create a memory that will remain in your soul is to try something for the first time. Knowing that I would be traveling to a region in the Andes Mountains, I wanted to try something that would give me a great bird's eye view of the landscape. The area surrounding Medellín is ideal for paragliding. So I booked a flight. The company offering the tour arranged private transportation for me from my hotel and took me on a 20 or so minute ride up the mountain to where I would take my flight. Once near the top, I walked an additional half kilometer or so, and as you can hear, I had to pace myself as I adjusted to the higher altitude. When I reached my destination, I had a number of forms to fill out, and then I was given a brief orientation on what to do, and I was introduced to my pilot for the flight. I remember looking out and noticing how close I was to the clouds. I was a bit nervous, and nervous on the verge of fear. After all, jumping off the side of a mountain is not something I do every day. But more than anything, I was pretty excited. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience flight with the ground thousands of feet below me. I was reminded that there's often a reward when you push through your discomfort and try something new. The story of Medellín is one of transformation, a city moving beyond a violent history toward peace and possibility. This kind of story invites us to reconsider how we judge a place, not only by where it's been, but where it's going. Back to that original question, is Colombia safe? I can't answer that question in a way that will satisfy everyone's risk tolerance. But I would say that my time in Medellín was defined by friendly, hospitable people, transformative public transit, inspiring works of art, delicious street food, world-class coffee shops, and adventurous experiences. I had a great time. Someone else could easily choose to see something else. This is the story I'm happy to tell, that there is tangible, statistical proof that even in cities that have experienced dark chapters in their history, they can write new, hopeful narratives. May we work through the sense of risk and experience the reward of walking alongside these communities as they blaze new trails of hope. Thanks, Medellín. I had a great